Thank you. So exciting to share the stage with all of you and unfortunately put me on stage. And it's such a pleasure to have convinced all of you to come work with us at Netflix and create the great art that you have. So I want to thank you for doing that. And let's talk a little bit about your experience and your perspective. I know in each of you, as people, when I see you on screen, you definitely have your public presentation, but just who you are as people is coming through so clearly. And I think that's hopefully what a lot of people respond to. I know, Britt, in your role in GirlBoss that is launching April 21st on Netflix all around the world, you are playing a real character, but it's the spirit of feminism and entrepreneurship, and really coming into your own. And can you talk a little bit about your personal journey with that role?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think also to go along with what Chelsea was saying, I think it's what's great about Netflix and why it's the perfect place for a show like GirlBoss is because they're willing to watch. They're willing to support maybe unlikable characters, unlikable female characters, and it's something that we've talked a lot about. Kay Cannon, the creator, and I. Just about Sophia in particular, because she's not your typical female character that you would see on like a comedy, 30-minute show, but because Netflix is giving this show an opportunity, Kay was able to really play with the idea that like Sophia's a human. She's got a lot of flaws, she swears, she's loud, she's a little brash, she's not so likable at times, but
That's me.
Right, this girl over here, huge inspiration. But I do think along with that, what you've done, and as well as Sophia, the real Sophia, is complemented with vulnerability. I think that's also what's important, is seeing the real humanity in all of us, and I'm a big believer that that we are human, and to accept people as being humans, you have to accept all the nastiness that comes along with that. It's not all bright and shiny all the time. I wish it was, or I don't actually, but it's all encompassing. And with the show like GirlBoss, I had a chance every day to do something that was different than the day before. And that's like the most gratifying thing you can ask for, as an actor at least. Like, I loved being able to go to work every day and throw a tantrum and then, be kind to someone because I need something from that person, or, try and make someone look beautiful in these pair of shoes that once looked terrible and now look amazing. Like, there was just always some sort of accomplishment that I felt at the end of the day, because it was like a new challenge that I got to embark on, which was really cool. So that's what's great about Netflix.
Well, one of the things that I'm struck by when I'm listening to all of you is, that these are really strongly forged characters, and there's a place for such a wide range, diverse roles. And there's a quote that Karen's going to kill me for saying, and I can't remember whose it is, but it's well-behaved bitches rarely change the world.
Love that.
It's actually well-behaved women.
No, well, Rihanna's version is different. But how much do you think about that in your struggle for your art? How much do you sort of abstract and think about whether you're role models for women and girls around the world, whether you need to be, how do you sort of sort that through in your minds?
Yes, I agree.
Well, it's your turn to answer.
I know. Oh, what am I answering the question? What's the question? Do I want to be a role model?
Are you a role model?
Okay, got it. No, I mean, I think you guys answered it beautifully. No, we were talking about this earlier, and it really is not something I try to be that conscious of, which I know is maybe not so great, but I've been an actor since I was, 12 years old, and I always just loved to do the acting part of it, and I never thought about all the responsibilities that come along with that. But for me, especially with the show, with GirlBoss, I think, everyone asks, like, the common question is, what is a girl boss? What does girl boss mean? And I think it just means like taking ownership of your life a little bit and caring about stuff, whatever that is. So it's kind of a lesson that I've learned. And also like not to be, afraid of failure and all of that stuff. And I've learned so many things just filming this show and by speaking with all of the wonderful women that are a part of it and men as well. And I think that's kind of what the show is basing its or grounding itself with, which is this idea that you should, men, women, monkey, whatever, like you just need to take ownership of your life and be proud of the things that you do, be passionate about things and just care, and whatever that means. Like I know the things that I care about, like acting and, my loved ones and actually, through watching your show, I've learned to care about a lot of other things too that I never thought that I would. I registered to vote via Chelsea, true that. But I do think, you just have to figure out whatever that is for yourself. And it shouldn't be me that's telling you what you care about at all. I never want to be the person to be like, come on, you gotta care. I think it's about finding it within yourself. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Great. I think we have time for a few questions for the panelists from the audience. Raise your hand. You there. Thanks.
Wow. You really pick up everything.
Hi, this is a question to all of you, actually. You were talking about strong female role models. Do you think it's even more important now post-Trump? And secondly, who are the sort of female characters that were your role models?
I will say that I actually saw the first 4 episodes of GirlBoss the day after the election, or the day after, we received the news. And so it was a really, I was so like sad and worn down and like in disbelief and confused and shocked. I was feeling like a lot of things. Sorry, I don't know who asked the question, so I'm just sort of speaking generally. Got you. And then I watched the show and it sort of, I realized for the first time that there are a lot of themes in the show. It's not something that I ever thought about making the show because it all seemed very real and, on point. But then watching the show, I realized there are so many themes that are like very important to the climate that we're in, even just down to like very simple things like speaking your mind and standing up for what you believe in, despite people, maybe breaking your spirit a little bit. And I think that's what it was for me. I felt like my spirit had been broken for a hot second. And then I watched the show, and I went to the creator and also Laverne, who was one of the producers on the show. And I just said like, wow. We were making the show when it was all happening, and the campaign was happening while we were shooting the show, and then to find out like this was the end of it, and this is the result. It became so much more important for us to be making the show and to have this content available, because we won't back down, and that's all it really is. And I do think it will speak to a lot of people who feel like. Maybe their spirit was broken for a little bit, and just to spark a little bit of fire back in us, and just to get us passionate about things, even if it feels like we're gonna have a more there's a bigger battle to be had here. So it's very important for me that this show happens now, and I do think that it's with the current political climate, it's going to be even more important that shows like this exist. So I'm very proud to be a part of it now, in this time. It's good.